Engineer Jenin Roram of Faculty of Mechanical Engineering, Manufacturing and Quality Management, Chapter 2, Production Cost Estimation. Table of Content includes 6 parts. First, definition of cost estimation. 2. Objective of cost estimation. 3. Components of cost estimation. 4. Classification of cost estimation. 5. Cost of a product. 6. Example of cost reduction estimation. Now we come to the first part. The first question is, what's cost estimation? Cost estimating is the estimation of the expected cost of producing a job or executing a manufacturing order before the actual production is taken up, or predicting what new products will cost before they are made. The cost estimate is what something we predict, so the accuracy depends on first, the order of detail of estimate, and second, basic of calculation and the reliability of the data used. Second, objective of cost estimation. The purpose of cost estimation is that the project to be undertaken will be economical or not, choosing the best method of production of cost, and defining the selling price of the products. Also, taking decision to make or to buy, and giving detailed information for on the operation and their cost, and giving an estimate of the total expenditure, and finally, preparing raw materials and tools. Third, component of cost estimation. The component depend on the product. Now we will list some basic costs. First, cost of design. 2. Cost of writing, cost of raw material, cost of labor, cost of inspection, cost of tool, jig and feature, overhead cost, and finally cost of research and development (R&D). And finally, we will classify the cost estimation. There are 4 kinds. First, direct materials cost. It is the cost of the material which become a part of final products. Second, direct labor cost. It is the expenditure made on the wage and salary of workers who are directly engaged in the manufacturing process. Example, turner, milling machine operator, painter. Third, other direct expense. They are the expenses except direct material cost and direct labor cost, which can be identified and allocated to a particular product. Example, cost of machine hour and cost of tool, jig and fixture. 4. Overhead costs. Overhead expenses include all other expenditure made on the products except direct material costs, direct labor charges, and direct other expenses. Administrative expenses, sales and advertisement costs form a part of overhead expenses. Next, cost of a product. As you can see in the figure below, a block diagram showing the build-up of total cost and selling price of component. Selling price to total or ultimate cost and profits. Total or ultimate cost include production cost and selling and distribution expenses. Production cost include factory cost and administrative expenses. Factory cost include RAM costs and factory expenses. RAM costs include direct materials costs, direct labor costs, and direct expenses. Now, example of production cost estimation. The below picture as example objects. Remember, all dimensions are in millimeter. Now you must calculate the total cost of cast iron scraps shown in figure from the following data. First, cost of molten iron of copper pound equal 30 Vietnam dong per kilogram. Process scrap equal 17% of net wasting of casting. Process scrap return value equal 5 Vietnam dong per kilogram. Administrative overhead charge equal to Vietnam dong per kilogram of metal pour. Density of materials used equal 7.2 gma per cc. Next, other expenditure details are shown in the below table. There are 3 columns. First, time per speed minutes. Second, labor charge per hour Vietnam dong, and shop overhead per hour Vietnam dong. There are 3 pro. First, molding and pouring. Second, casting removal, die casting. And finally, fastening and inspection. Now we will calculate the volume of the component. It depends on the object. We can use some basic shape of a thing like a circle, a square, etc. And then we will calculate the next way of the casting by the volume of the component multiplied by the density of materials used. Then the rosette scrap is calculated by the next way of the casting multiplied by the percent of processed scrap. The metal required per speed are calculated by the next way of the casting plus the processed scrap, and the materials cost are calculated by the metal required per speed multiplied by the cost of molten iron at coupler's pound. And the rosette return are calculated by the rosette scrap multiplied by the rosette scrap return value. And finally, the net material cost per piece are calculated by the material cost per piece minus the rosette return. And now we will calculate the labor cost and overhead. Each row of the rosette, example like molding and pouring, the labor charge per hour are calculated by time per piece, which has been changed to hour multiplied by the labor charge per hour Vietnam dong. At the same, the factory overhead per hour of molding and pouring are calculated by the time per piece in hour multiplied by the factory overhead per hour cost. We will do the same for the other rosette, like casting removal, casting, and fastening and inspection. In addition, we will have the total of labor charge per hour and factory overhead per hour. So we have the labor charge and the factory overhead. We must calculate the administrative overhead. It is calculated by the administrative overhead charge multiplied by the metal required per piece. And finally, we have the total cost per piece are calculated by the cost of net material per piece plus the labor charge plus the factory overhead and the administrative overhead. So done. Now we go on the next example. As you can see in the picture below, a cast iron component is to be manufactured as in the picture. We will estimate the selling price per piece from the following data. We have density of material equal 7.2 gram per cc. The cost of metal as coupler's pound equal 20 Vietnam dong per kilogram. The rosette scrap by 20% of net weight. The scrap return value by 6 Vietnam dong per kilogram. The administrative overhead by 30 Vietnam dong per hour. The sale overhead by 20% of factory's cost, and the profit by 20% of factory cost at same. Now we go on the other expenditure detail. It is the same as the previous example. There are 3 columns: the time in minutes, the labor cost, and the shop overhead. And there are 3 rows, include molding and pouring, the soft blasting, and the fastening. Now we will calculate the next volume of cast component. It depends on the shape of the object. So we have 711 cc, and the next weight of the cast component is calculated by the next volume of cast component multiplied by the density of material. So we have 5.117 kg. The cross-section scrap is calculated by the percent of cross-section scrap multiplied by the next weight of cast component, and we have 1.02 kg. The total material required per component is calculated by the total of next weight of cast component and the cross-section scrap, and equal 6.14 kg. The cost of metal pour is calculated by the total metal required per component multiplied by the cost of the molten metal at coupler's bar, and it is 123.8 Vietnam đồng. The rosette return value is calculated by the rosette scrap multiplied by the value of the scrap return, and it is 6.12 Vietnam đồng. And finally, the material cost per component is calculated by the cost of metal pour minus the rosette return value. So we have finally 116.7 Vietnam đồng. And go on, we calculate the labor cost and overhead in the table. We use the round multiplied by the column. Example, in the round of molding and pouring, we use 15 times a minute and drain it into hour by divide into 60 and multiply it by the information of labor cost is 20, and we got 5. In addition, the soft overhead is calculated by the time 15 drain into hour by divide 60 and multiple 60. So we got 15. We will calculate for on 3 round molding, pouring, soft plastic, fastening, and we got a total of labor cost is 6.83, and the soft overhead per hour is 22.33. Until now, we can calculate the factory cost per component by the cost of material per component plus the labor cost and soft overhead, and this is 145.86 Vietnam đồng. We must calculate the administrative overhead in addition by 13 Vietnam đồng, and it is calculated by the administrative overhead multiple the total time of 3 processes, and we will calculate the sale overhead by 20% of the cost of factory per component and the profit also by 20% of the factory cost per component. They are both 29.17 Vietnam đồng. And in the finally, we will calculate the selling price per component by factory cost plus administrative overhead plus sale overhead and plus profit. And in the total is a 217.2 Vietnam đồng. Thank you for your attention.